Dead Girl by Justin DePrima, performed by Cricket the narrator. The hounds assailed Vanessa, burning paws scorching the hollowed ground as they pursued her. On she ran, past the grave markers and over the native effigy mounds that made up the small cemetery in a town she hadn't yet placed. Not the hounds, Vanessa thought. Anything but the hounds. Tripping over a crumbling, unmarked grave, she heard a steady, low-pitched guttural chugging. Again on her feet, she made for the road. Half the cemetery and a small grove of trees stood in her way, and the hounds were gaining. Frantic, Vanessa chanced to peek behind her, past the last graves displaying the cross of a god she no longer believed in. She approached a grove of tropical trees with untamed fern fawns. A sound like grating metal in her left ear made her spin around. Nothing there. Vanessa often wished she were crazy and hallucinated these nightly occurrences. How simple life would be to while away her days in an insane asylum. She'd tried that many times, to have herself admitted, only to be torn apart the very first night from some untold horror, leaving her unable to return to those towns. People didn't think too highly of reanimated corpses. A few yards from the road, terrible pain seared through her ankle as bones splintered and tendons snapped, blood gushing into fiery maws. Hungry, burning eyes surrounded her. "Get it over with, you sons of bitches! Go back to where you came from!" Her scream went unheard as truckers whizzed past, unaware of the events in the ditch beside them on the road. They dragged Vanessa back to the soil of an unmarked grave, her foot hanging on by a shredded tendon. A fire started in her loins, set by the hell dogs as the others began their feast. One gaped her open from hole to hole, filling her insides with vitral lava. Her screams of agony went on into the night, but no one came. No one ever did. From just past midnight to seconds before the sun made its rise, she screamed and writhed, dying seconds before the sun's rays touched her skin. Then she disappeared. Auster's eyes glazed over, and he no longer appeared in control of his own body as a series of seizures shook him. Door Scratch jumped off his shoulder, disappearing into the brush. A deep voice burst from Auster's gut with a manly utterance, and his features warbled and his skin drooped, floppy and moist. Growing tall and wide and impossibly muscular, Auster transformed into the behemoth who'd attempted to save her in the woods. Vanessa had thought he was dead. Her twin demon hounds let out low guttural growls, shielding her from this new threat. "Pretty lady has puppies," the giant of a man in front of her bellowed. His over 8-foot frame dwarfed her and her puppies. He strode forward and picked the closest hellhound up. It bit him on the arm. The big man let out a childlike squeal of delight. "Puppies like me, Beefkeep!" The hellhound, defenseless in this gigantic man's paws, cowered, allowing itself to be petted, rather roughly, and against the grain of its speckled red, black, and gray fur. The other hound stood its ground in front of Vanessa, with an apprehensive glare and slumped shoulder blades. "Thank you, pretty lady. Beef love your puppies. Where kitty go?" Vanessa was at a loss. "Beef don't want to put Puppy down. Puppy likes beef." The hellhound he held gave his face a rough, fiery lick. The big man chuckled. "Tickles! Good puppy tickle again!" The hellhound licked him again. "Who are you talking to?" Vanessa asked. The big man set the hellhound down with a loud sigh. "Beef do good for simple man. Help him fight for pretty lady. Beef listen." "The simple man?" Vanessa asked. "Oh, Auster. He controls you?" The skin on the immense man went slack, making him look like someone who had just had all the fat sucked out of their body, leaving him a gelatinous mound of flesh on bones. From this mound, Auster reformed his usual non-assuming self, made whole. Grimacing like he was in agony, he moaned, I don't control them. We are one, it would seem. Them? There are more? Vanessa found that her temper and fear were fighting for control over seeing this through. Yeah, Auster answered. You never met Speed. He's a little shy. Then Auster screamed as if he were being tortured. As much as his skin had puffed out and swelled before, this time his skin had stretched, masculine and taut. His tone deepened to the richest, darkest tan. The man who stood in front of Vanessa was Latin and past sexy, ravishing. Allow me to introduce myself. My fans call me Speed. Speed Fantastico, if you will. The tall, dark, and lean hunk of man-flesh standing before her said. The suit Auster had been wearing had changed into something more form-fitting and stretchy on Speed. The colors of brown and gray, now yellow and black, gave Speed the resemblance of a sleek bumblebee. Auster's suit had also changed with beef, but she'd been too irate to notice the differences. Vanessa heard herself stutter. I'm Vanessa. Auster didn't tell me he had a... What are you? The Latin god smirked roguishly at her. I am the rush of wind that caresses your skin on a sultry morning at the beach. I am the gust of air that fells a rose petal to rest in your flowering tresses on the highest peak. I am the longing ache in your loins when you can't possibly climax again, tempting you further than you thought humanly possible. Oh! Vanessa's eyes widened. She felt her cheeks warming, and she wished her thin blue bangs were long enough to hide behind. I'm not sure how to respond to that, she barely managed. You don't have to talk. Shh. I find the prattling of most women quite tiresome, Speed said, flexing his pectoral muscles. Vanessa giggled and touched her face absent-mindedly. She knew she should be offended, but the way Speed's accent curled out in perfect sensual tones made it charming. Plus, he must be joking, she told herself. Well, what's the plan? I'm yours. Tell me what to do. Vanessa blushed even further. How could someone so hot be part of someone so plain? She wondered. I'll let Auster tell you our plan, the bronze Adonis said. I grow bored with this. Wait, she said, too loud and too fast. I need to know that the ones protecting me are up to the challenges to come. With a name like Speed, I imagine you're quite fast. What can you do?